The Philadelphia Phillies have been red hot, man. Red hot. They've won 7 straight games. They just finished their 50th game. They are now 32-18, and they have the best record in the National League. And I heard them talking about it on the morning show. It doesn't really feel like that because the fans aren't as buzzing as they've been in previous seasons because of the playoff disappointments. But I want to take a look kind of at what has occurred so far this season. The bats started out a little bit slow, right? You had Alec Boehm started out cold. He's coming around. Even when they started winning games, Bryce Harper wasn't necessarily hitting the ball that well. Well, now he's coming around. Granted, it's been against some pretty bad teams, but he's coming around. I looked at some numbers today. In the month of May, the Phillies are second across all of Major League Baseball in terms of batting average at 280. They're tied for second in on-base percentage at 340, and they're fourth in OPS at 789. And you just heard me say best record in the National League. It's been a pretty good start to the season, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really right around Memorial Day where I tend to really gauge where this team is. And this is exactly what we were all expecting going into the season. And the missing ingredient was Bryce Harper. He's starting to come alive. And the pitching's been phenomenal. I think you have to be really excited about the direction of this team at this point in the season.
Yeah, but the reason I'm not getting too excited.
And I know where you're going.
The too excited. Like, I love what they're doing. You can only beat the teams that are in front of you and all that and blah, blah, blah. This Colorado Rockies team that they just swept, to put this into perspective for people, they are 8-42 through 50 games, okay? 8-42, Ray Dunn. That is the worst 50-game start since 1895. So I did some homework this morning. To put that into perspective, 1895. Listen to some of these stats from 1895. The U.S. life expectancy in 1895 was 47 years old. There were more horse-drawn carriages than cars. Only 10% of homes had electricity. The average income per year, $500.
Hey.
Pretty close to Ray Dunn's income. A loaf of bread, 5 cents. A gallon of milk, 28 cents. Dozen eggs, 21 cents. Ray, you could buy a new house for $3,000.
Oh, you're kidding me. I'm paying that rent.
The first movie
I'm not.
Didn't screen until December of 1895. So you couldn't even go to the movies. We're talking about horror movies today.
Wow.
Couldn't even go to the movies. But here's some of my favorites. Cocaine was used as a local anesthetic.
Favorite?
For kids, too, at dentists. Doctors didn't understand germs. They didn't wear gloves. Cigarettes were being advertised as medicine for asthma relief, digestion, and the common cold.
Oh, my gosh.
Indoor plumbing was rare. But then this I do want to bring back. I'm going to make a petition to bring this one back, Ray. Men wore suits everywhere, and a hat was essential. I'm bringing the bowler hat back, dude.
Of course you want the bowler hat.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
No hat, but suit, yes. I like to dress up nice.
But you think about that. I mean, like, I'm being facetious here, but the Colorado Rockies, the last time a team was as bad as this team, all that was going on. We were giving cocaine to kids at the dentist. Like, that's how bad the Rockies are.
I know, but so you're not giving the Phillies that much credit because of the opposition.
It's not, I don't want to take.
Why do you hate the Phillies?
Yeah, exactly.
What's your deal?
I'm excited for what the Phillies are doing. I think they're a good team. I've been mostly positive about the Phillies more than Mike on this show to start the year. The bullpen's starting to come around. Jordan Romano looks like he's figuring things out. We knew the starting rotation was going to be good, and it is. Even without Aaron Nola performing at a high level, starting rotation is still one of the best in baseball. You saw Ranger last night. Or not last night, I guess that was yesterday afternoon. He throws a gem. And something that Ray wanted to talk about earlier in the week as we talk about that starting rotation, the one area they need help is in the bullpen. Well, you got an abundance of guys in that starting rotation. Could you trade one of those guys, whether it's Ranger Suarez or even Taijuan Walker? Now, the plan is once Nola comes back from the IL, they're going to move Walker back to the bullpen, and the hopes are they're not going to move him out of there, absent injury. But Ray threw out an interesting question. And, Ray, I'll ask you because this is your idea here. Is Taijuan Walker tradable?
Is Taijuan Walker tradable? Is Ranger Suarez tradable? Or are we wasting our time talking about major leaguers when the guy that made his debut on Sunday is the most tradable of the entire group? To me, it's Mick Abel. Of the organizational depth that's most likely to get moved, it's him. I had someone text me the other day about Taijuan Walker, which I'll answer your question to that one. You're going to have to find a team that is both in it and willing to absorb some portion of that salary. They're not getting out of all of it. So your options there tend to be more limited because I think a lot of teams that want to spend that type of money are going to look to this offseason of like, oh, we can really end up getting ourselves a better pitcher in free agency. So we don't really want to take on what would be $18 million next year. And even if you take half of that, that's, $9-10 million that would be still on your books and counting against you before you even get to next offseason. You would have to be in it thinking you have a chance to win it. And Taijuan Walker is a piece that's going to push you towards wherever you want to be. Which to me right now, no matter what you've seen from him to the start of this season, I don't know how many executives across baseball are going to hang up the phone like, that was a good talk with Dave Dombrowski.
Yeah, I don't see
go down the Taijuan Walker route.
I don't see look, last year we wanted to move on from Taijuan Walker. We were ready to DFA him just because we couldn't watch him pitch anymore. But I agree with you is for you to get something of value for Walker, there's going to have to be a team that thinks that they're in it and needs a starting pitcher. You're right. And do they really believe that Walker would be the thing that puts them over the top? And then that contract, it's still a monster. And it's not the final year. You got him next year. But then when you talk about contracts, Ranger could certainly be a guy that a team could look at and say, hey, we need starting pitching. Mm-hmm. He's in the final year of his deal. They may be willing to give up something if they think he puts them over the top with their starting rotation. But Ray's right. Mick Abel's probably your best trade piece right now.
He's not going to have a higher value right now.
No, he wouldn't. But, Ray, would you be willing to part with Mick Abel?
Yeah, for the right price. I mean, I'm not just giving him up to give him up, but
a couple strong arms.
For a really good reliever. Like I know the name that I put, I think that you were referencing when we talked about Abel and talked about the sheet earlier in the week. Felix Bautista was one that just jumped to mind, and I did watch him blow a save the other day against the Brewers, which is hilarious. It was like the day after I put it on the sheet of, would you do that trade?
Well, because the Orioles are a disgrace right now.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not a disgrace, and he's under team control until I think 2027. So you would have him for a few more years. The asking price for them is going to be astronomical. So you could ask yourself the question, why would they part with that arm in the bullpen to begin with? And that's a fair enough question for you to have. But if you're looking at some of these teams that are not good right now, what use do they have for a Ranger Suarez if he's going to walk? So if you're starting to pick from the bad bullpens of the or the bad teams and from their bullpens,
they're going to want to prospect.
Mick Abel is a perfect hey, let's get our fan base excited about a young arm that we don't have to pay for another X amount of years.
All right, one more for you, Ray, because Ray really knows his baseball. What if they don't do anything? Like, what if Dombrowski just says, you know what? We know Painter's coming up in June or July. We have an abundance of starting pitching. We only need 4 starters come the postseason anyway. So now your bullpen come October turns into Rangers there, Walker's there. Who's the other guy? I mean, I guess you're still going to go with Nola as one of your starters. Let's hope he figures this out. So your 4 starters would be Wheeler, Luzardo, Nola, Sanchez. I mean, is that enough arms if you don't make a move to just say the answers are coming because of we'll move a couple starters to the pen?
Yeah, no. I need one more. Like, we thought they were one bullpen arm short, and you had this option of moving these guys to the pen anyways.
And we thought we had Alvarado, too.
Right. So, you're not going to be in a good enough spot there. I'm really curious, like, left-handed-wise, if they can find someone with, enough, just high-octane stuff. Like, they just don't have a fireballer from the left side right now. That's what they had in Alvarado. Ranger, even if you max him out, he's not getting anywhere close to what you were getting on average from Alvarado. He seems like the most likely candidate to make that move, but watch yesterday and tell me that right now you want to take him out of that rotation. I don't.
No, you certainly don't want to do it yet. And then there's another option here, too. I mean, they could go a million ways. You mentioned Mick Abel as a trade piece. When Abel's throwing 99, why can't you put him in the pen?
You're not putting him in the pen until you exhaust your options at the deadline.
That's like a last resort.
Last resort. Like, I don't want to put Painter in the pen because of the Tommy John, and I don't want to expose him to that many days pitching and all that. But with Mick Abel, when he's throwing that type of heat, if you can't get anybody better at the deadline, maybe he's the answer.
Yeah, it's not a bad option. Worst case.
All right, we'll continue some Phillies conversation. I do want to jump back into our Eagles talk, though, because we were talking about how the 25 Eagles can repeat and what they need to do on offense in terms of evolving and all that. I was reading an article this morning ranking the divisions in the NFL and which ones are going to be the toughest. And I don't necessarily agree with where they have the NFC East ranked, because I think the NFC East is going to be pretty tough. So I want to ask Andrew, get your opinion on how tough that division is going to be. We'll talk about that coming up after this.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show, and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos, it's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.